Life used to be so hard. Now everything is easy 'cause of you.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to It's Your House. I'm your host, Tim Sebastian, a local real estate broker with Century 21 New Heritage, with offices in Huntley, Hampshire, and in beautiful Marengo. Also a sponsor of WXMR. You're listening to WXMR 94.3 LP FM, Marengo, Illinois. You can listen to us online at WXMR.org, anywhere in the whole wide world. Welcome to a Thursday. Real quick on the weather. Is fall here? It almost looks like it. It was warm. I think I read something that we had like 33 days of 80-plus degree weather. So, and then it's like it fell out. So this is unseasonably cool, although it was nice to open the windows at home and cool off a little bit. Good sleeping weather, I believe they call it. School's back in session. As you know, we broadcast from Marengo Community High School, and they're back this week. So at some point during the broadcast today, if you hear all this noise in the background, that's the kids changing classes. And what else? We had the wonderful music festival through the Chamber of Commerce last Saturday. Good turnout, wonderful weather. Had a car show, had a show and shine, bingo, 4 great bands, lots of food, lots of beer, lots of wine, lots of Mike's Hard Lemonade, and lots of fun had by all. So thanks for everyone that supported us. And let me welcome our guest today, Yvonne Daniels. Say hello, Yvonne.
Hi, Tim.
Yvonne is also a real estate broker with Century 21. And today's topic, we're going to talk about rehabbing your home, fixing up your home, and we'll go a few different directions in that. But we've both done this, and you're in the middle of it right now, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Actually, we did it right before we moved, and just recently when we moved into the Marengo area.
So you're a new Marengoite.
I'm a new Marengoite. Loving it, though.
So you weren't from this area at all, were you?
No, I moved from the Lisle area.
Lisle. So you came way out of your safety zone and bought a fixer-upper, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. But we've discussed this before on my show, but it's interesting how things have morphed over the years. So 35 years ago, if you needed a 2x4 for your house, you had to go to the local lumber yard because they didn't have Lowe's and Home Depot.
Don't forget Menards.
and all the different, what they would call the big box stores now. And that's sort of, over time has changed, and because now we really don't have too many lumber yards anymore. You don't find the specialty. The only ones I can think of in this area are maybe like Heinz Lumber.
I think there's still a Heinz Lumber, fairly close.
I think in Hampshire there's one, but you don't too often see the Marengo Lumber Yard or the Woodstock Lumber, or Joe's Lumber Yard in a certain.
I think there is actually a smaller sized one up in Woodstock.
In Woodstock,
Yeah.
There is. I think I got
Alexander's.
Alexander's, or I think I got some roofing there or something like that. But they're far. I mean, so when we think of home improvement now, we go to one of these big box stores, and it's actually pretty nice that we have that now, because before they had these, what would you do if you wanted to do home repair?
You'd have to call up somebody.
You'd have to call up
get
somebody,
a contractor in there.
Or you'd have to go to your local hardware store, and hopefully that they had the parts, and we still have local hardware stores. We have Ace Hardware here in town. So you'd have to do that, and but you were pretty much stuck. So do you remember what changed all that?
Probably Bob Vila.
Bob Vila in This Old House, which has been on for, 35 years now, maybe going on 40 years, and still on today. And now we've gone from this 1.5-hour show that basically, got people interested into home repair and fixing up your house, into now we have fully dedicated television channels, not shows, channels that just discuss how you could selling your house, fixing up your house.
Everything DIY.
You name it, DIY. Now we have the one my wife Tony and I watched, the one that's a lot Are you going to pick house number 1, house number 2, or house number 3? And now they have that for buying a house in Alaska, buying a house international, fixing your house up international. Should I buy or should I sell? So it's unlimited. So we've really gone full circle here in which way we've done that. So that sort of got you and your husband. Your husband's name?
Robert.
Robert, you and Robert got into you decided to move to Marengo, and you bought a fixer-upper.
Yeah, we did. There was a lot of stuff that had not been taken care of over the years. You have your dropped ceilings in the basement or the old paneling that you're never quite sure what you're going to find behind.
So the first thing when you get into this is people need to realize it's not television, right?
No, it is not. It's the same as you don't just throw your hook into the water and get a fish immediately.
No. So there's actually, on one of those shows, and I've mentioned it before, there's a show called Renovation Realities. Have you ever watched that one?
No, I haven't.
You need to. It's a half-hour show, and basically it gets into they follow a couple around usually, that decide we're going to redo our kitchen. And
do they stay married by the end?
Sometimes it gets pretty rough. Sometimes there's you hear a lot of beeping going on at the end of the show when they're having conversations with each other, where they're beeping out certain language. So
yeah.
It's not always that way, but I always said home improvement is a real relation builder. You can really see how well you get along when you do home improvement because it can be trying. So that's a good one to watch if you ever have a chance. And there's a humor side to it. There's a scary side to it sometimes, too, because people will be doing things, and it shows that no one gets hurt on the show, but it shows you could get hurt if you don't do something
yes.
right.
You do need to be careful.
So in your particular case, and I'll be happy to share my experiences, too, but in your particular case, when you purchased this home,
mm-hmm.
did you realize it needed as much work as you've put into it so far?
I think we had our sneaking suspicions,
Okay.
But you don't quite know what's behind a wall until you actually get behind a wall.
That's true. So when you bought it with the idea that you knew you were going to have to do something to it.
Yes, we did. So
at first, what did you think you were going to have to do?
We definitely knew that there was some drywall that would need to be replaced. The house had a particular odor.
Okay.
So we knew, and again, like I said, the drop ceilings in the basement, because those just, in my opinion, are slightly outdated, and it just doesn't feel homey. There was a lot of paneling in the basement, the dark wood paneling, which again, you want to lighten things up a bit.
It was
cosmetic, and a lot of it really is cosmetic. And then when you get down to it, the house is still structurally sound. It's nothing to that extent. It's just a lot of cosmetic stuff.
Well, one of the things, and you and I are in this business of helping people sell their house and purchase houses, and I've purchased a few through my life, and you also. And one of the things that I sort of remember now, like my first house, I remember we went and looked at it, and then we bought it, and then I don't think we went back and looked at it until like the walkthrough I don't even know if we had a walkthrough. We probably did, but and during that time, you almost forget what it looks like on the inside because you don't spend a lot of time in it. So, and so you start, we sort of walk around and we liked it, and then it's like, where was that wall, or where was I was with some clients the other day. They're getting ready to close next week on a house in Marengo, mm-hmm. and I was with them at the beginning of the week, and they were asking about changing a closet around or something like that because they couldn't remember where a certain wall was,
mm-hmm.
and I couldn't remember either. So I'm like, we're going to have to go back on the walkthrough and actually see, at that point you'll be able to answer your question. So, I mean, we take a short amount of time to look at these things, and maybe we look at it a second time, and then boom, all of a sudden we're there, and it's time to do the work.
I'll be honest, we looked at this one 3 times before
we... 3 times? Okay, well, no.
We needed to make sure.
Good. So you made sure, and
yes.
then did you move in right away, or was it a move in? And
no, we moved in. We closed on the house we sold in the morning, and we moved in the afternoon on this one.
So when we talk about doing your own home repairs, that's something to keep in mind. It's so much.
Can you live with it while you're doing it?
Can you live with it while you're doing it? And this is the test on the relationship too, isn't it?
It can be trying, but we try to make light of it, and we throw a lot of humor into it when we can.
That helps. I can remember one house redoing the kitchen and having the garage set up like a kitchen for almost the whole winter.
Yes.
Had a table out. I mean, we didn't eat in there, but we had a table out there with a little electric frying pan
For preparing.
and a microwave oven, and we had moved the refrigerator out there, and that's where you had to go out and do everything. So it was an interesting time standing out in the.
It depends on whether you throw kids and animals into the mix,
That's
too.
true.
That's always a lot of fun.
That's true too. So you got into this, and boom, you moved in. So the first thing that we'll point out, as we're helping our listeners, is that it's much easier to do a repair or a remodel or a replacement or any sort of rehab if you're not living in the place.
Oh, 100%. We had neighbors that purchased right after we did, and they had the ability to live in a house and work on this one on the weekends, and yeah, it definitely makes life easier, but that doesn't always fit into the plans.
It doesn't fit into the plans, and even little things like painting and carpeting and tiling, and just if you want to do some quick things, it's so much easier to do if that room's empty as opposed to
full of furniture and
boxes. Talk about
boxes.
painting, right?
Yeah.
It's think of when you paint your house at home. I'm going to repaint this bedroom, you probably spend a majority of your time cleaning the bedroom out,
Right.
or moving things from one half of the room to the other, or covering things up with plastic or some sort of tarp or old sheet or something like that. And the actual painting time, when you're actually applying paint to the wall,
Smallest amount of time
smallest amount
involved.
of time. They always say prep is the big thing, but part of that prep is just moving things around. And so when you're living in it, it makes it just so much more difficult. But like you say, not all people have that. If you close on one place and you have to close on house A to move into house B, or you're getting your that's where we have to live. So you have to live with it. So what did you find what was the first thing you guys did when you moved in? What was your first project?
The first project probably would have been removing some old carpeting.
Okay.
So
Easily done.
easily done, yes. Just kind of living with, subfloor for a while
Okay.
till we get back to that room.
So you haven't replaced that yet?
No.
Oh, see, so I don't feel bad because I thought that only happened to me, but I think we're joking here, folks. But I think what we're getting at is that this happens to everybody. So you tear the carpet up, and how long have you been in the house now?
We moved in the end of November.
End of November. So coming up on a year's time. And,
It's flown.
it's flown, and gosh, it's November pretty soon. Anyway, so you tore the carpet up. What was next?
Probably moved to the basement. I would say that's where we started removing some of the old wood paneling and the drop ceiling, that
So
type
you
of
said
stuff.
you said you had an odor in there too. Was it a smoking odor or
No, it was animal odor.
animal odor? Okay, so still it was something that was in there, and so which would be normal. I want to get rid of the carpet. I'm going to get rid of the drop ceiling. I want to do something to get that smell out of here. Did that work?
It's working. It's still a work in progress. I have to add, too, that the outside needed a lot of upkeep, too. It's a large piece of property, and there was a lot of upkeep landscaping that needed to be. So we've bounced back and forth from inside to outside.
Yeah, well, the other thing everyone has to keep in mind is that unless you're lucky enough that